Good evening. Let's get situated first. I think we are here. I'm gonna give a minute or two and let everybody get situated. All right. We got a couple people on right now. We'll get a couple more before we get started. So today is one of my favorite topics, so I can't wait until we get started. You guys already know I like talking about my Ghrelin, and so we're gonna go into that in a minute. Let me just grab this. All right. So good evening, everyone. It's Monday, March 15th, I believe. And this is Dr. Hunt, and this is the No Guesswork virtual book club. So we are gonna go through the chapters of the book and No Guesswork, and take a deep dive and kind of go through things and explain some stuff. And if you have any questions, I'll try to, answer them. If not now, I'll try to answer them after we're done. So tell your friends, pull up a chair. Hey sis, pull up a chair and grab your favorite drink, and we will get started. So the chapter we're gonna talk about today is chapter 6, the hunger gremlin. And really what I mean is Ghrelin, but I like to call it the hunger gremlin. And so, and I think it's so important for people who are working on their weight loss journey to understand Ghrelin. And so let me just turn to that page. So there are a lot of set points in your body. So your body works off of set points. So for instance, your pH balance is set at 7.40. So if you deviate from 7.40, your body will bring you back to 7.40, and you won't even, you're not doing anything. It's just doing it, because that's a set point that your body has, and a set point that it knows where it needs to be in order to function properly. So the same thing happens for your temperature, for instance. So your temperature is set at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So if your temperature goes up, you sweat. If your temperature goes down, you shiver. And so, and your body has a whole host of other set points. But one of the set points that your body has is, that people don't realize, is your weight. So your body has a set point for your weight. And so whatever your set point is, the same thing that it does for your temperature, the same thing that it does for your pH, it does for your weight. So that, let's say your weight is set here, and then you try to lose weight, your body will do whatever it can to get you back to its set point, just like it does with your pH, just like it does with your temperature, and so many other things. In fact, if you overshoot, let's say you gain a lot of weight, your body will also bring you back and make you lose weight back to your set point. It's like a thermostat. And so your thermostat is set at a particular number. Your body does what it needs to do to get you back to that particular number. And so there's so many ways that it does it. So that's why losing weight can be difficult. That's why 80% of people who lose weight regain it, because their body is fighting them to get back to their set point. And they don't even realize it. They're thinking that, it's a willpower issue. I must not, be strong enough. And it really is not that. It really has a lot to do with your body in its set point. And then the question then becomes, well, what do you do about it? So if no matter what I do, my body's going to fight against me, then why even try to lose weight? I'm doomed. And no, you're not doomed, because the good thing about this is that we know why and how your body does this. So your body can't make you go grab a Big Mac, but what it can do is raise your ghrelin levels, that hunger gremlin, and lower the other hormones that make you feel satisfied and satiated. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this pesky hormone called Ghrelin, G-H-R-E-L-I-N. I call it the hunger gremlin. And so what happens with ghrelin? So ghrelin is primarily in your stomach. And so let's say this is lunch. As you get closer and closer to lunch, ghrelin goes up, up, and up. And when you're really, really, really close to lunch, it's really, really, really high. And ghrelin activates your limbic system in your brain. That is your craving center. And so when it activates it, it makes it spin, 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 spin. In front of your limbic system, I'm not going to do too much science, I promise, is this thing called your prefrontal cortex. It's your reasoning center. But when this thing is spinning, you can't reason with the rest of your brain because your brain is hijacked. And so the only way to stop this thing from spinning is to wait 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, it slows down on its own, and then you can reason. We actually use that for people who have drug addiction. We say, listen, if you have a craving for that drug, you know what, wait 20 minutes. And if after 20 minutes you still want that drug, go ahead and have it. The reason we say that is because if you're really trying to lose weight, you're really trying to stay off that drug, you will, once your brain is no longer hijacked, you'll make the right decision. But we do the same thing for food. So we tell people, if you're really having a craving for something, wait 20 minutes. And if you still have a craving, then go ahead and have it. Again, that same philosophy is that if you're trying to lose weight, once your brain is no longer hijacked, you'll make a good decision. The second way we do this is it works if it's spinning, 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 and you can't interact, you can't reason, because your brain is hijacked. Well, if you're trying to do a low carb diet and it's a nice chocolate cake in front of you that you really like that somebody just baked, and you eat the cake, it stops spinning immediately, you reason, and then you feel guilty. And those are the only two ways that you can stop this thing from spinning. Except the third way to stop this thing from spinning is to not allow it to start spinning in the first place. And the way you do that is to decrease your ghrelin. So the name of the game is managing these hormones. And so insulin is one of the other hormones that we manage. There's the satiating hormones that we manage. And so, and it's ghrelin that we manage. So ghrelin, when it's high, it makes you crave, and it makes it difficult for you to make a wise decision. And so we need to keep ghrelin down. Now, like I said, ghrelin goes up when you get closer to mealtime, and then once you eat, it goes back down, and then the cycle goes over again. And so what I try to tell my patients is to eat a protein snack about 30 to 45 minutes before mealtime, because that will then knock the ghrelin down. You'll be in control. And so when you go to eat, you won't make a rash or a poor decision. So for instance, for me, today, or most days, basically, I have a little cubbyhole where I stand and when I do my notes for my patients. And, around 11 o'clock, 11:30, I will grab a cheese stick or a handful of nuts or a protein shake or whatever it is that I have in my little cubbyhole to knock the ghrelin down. So now when I go down to the cafeteria around noon, instead of me going over to the pizza station, I go right to the carving station, and I'll get me, the turkey with a little bit of gravy and some green veggies, and then I'm good. And so that's kind of how I manage ghrelin, so that it won't take control of me. So what about late night? So some people say, late night I get these urges to eat. So and then I go look through, rummage through the cabinets to try to find, a snack or something. And they typically pick something that they shouldn't be eating. Same idea. So if you know that your cravings come around 10, 11 o'clock, you know, let's say they're at 10, then grab a snack, about a low carb snack around 9:30, so that you can knock that ghrelin down, so you won't even have that craving at 10. The one thing I didn't tell you is that once these cravings start, it's a little too late. Like grabbing a protein snack won't really help it because the cravings already hit. So you kind of gotta, that's why I said do it right before you eat lunch because you already know. And if you know when your cravings happen at night, you do it before the cravings hit. Because if you do it while the cravings are occurring, it's gonna be difficult. That probably won't satisfy you. And so someone said managing ghrelin cannot be that simple. Actually, it is if you do it. Like, so it's simple if you are very consistent about how you do this, so that you do have your snack before, half hour before. You do, time when you're gonna have your snack, your late night snack, so that you can manage ghrelin. Ghrelin is pretty much that simple. If you look at the studies on ghrelin, it is really predictable. It's and that's the one good thing about it, in that if you understand it and know how to manage it, and then you can take it from there. Now, mind you, we're using protein to try to reduce ghrelin, but sometimes people need a little bit more than that, because the other hormones in your gut, they counteract ghrelin. And what does your body do when it wants you to get back to your thermostat level, back to your set point? So if you try to lose weight, your body will increase ghrelin tenfold and decrease your satiating hormones to 0, so that you have nothing to make you feel satisfied. And ghrelin to make you feel hungry and craving. And so that's why I say obesity is not a willpower disease. And that's why we say it's not your fault, because it has a lot to do with your physiology. And so and we need to understand, and this is understand physiology, and this is why we utilize medication sometimes too, because sometimes just eating protein isn't enough. Sometimes you do need something to actually counteract ghrelin. And that's where your obesity medicine physician will come in. And so that's how your body manages your weight, period. Now, the other way it manages your weight that we're not going to talk about today is through changing your metabolism. So your body's sneaky. It can make you really, really hungry and then get rid of all of your satiating hormones. So you don't ever feel satisfied. You never feel satisfied. Nothing feels shut off. You don't feel full. But then if that's not enough, your body can just grab the dial and turn your metabolism down. And when it turns your metabolism down, then it's easier for you to gain weight. And so we have ways to deal with that as well. And one of the ways to deal with that is the same way you're dealing with the ghrelin, which is keeping your protein up, because that helps to keep your muscle mass up and helps to keep your metabolism up. But there are other things that we do to help your metabolism. And when we talk about it in the book, and we'll get to it at some point, because we talk about it in the book. And so ghrelin is a sneaky little thing. And the other thing about ghrelin is that in the set points is that you may think, okay, I'm losing weight. You may think I'm losing weight. Okay, ghrelin's been fighting me, so I'm good. It's been 6 months. Well, ghrelin fights you for the better part of 2 years. Some people say you never really reset your set point to your new weight. I personally don't believe that. What I think is that you can reset to a new set point, a lower set point, but your body still has a memory, so it knows where that other set point was. And if there were major stress, major trauma, major this, major that, it can easily just convert right back to that set point. So I don't think it's just something that's just, it's all gloom and doom. You do reset. However, again, your body has a good memory, and if something triggers it, it can go back to that set point. So what do? So you know ghrelin, you know how it works. You know how it works in relation to food. And you know what you need to do in order to keep it in check and keep it under control. And the other thing about ghrelin is that not only do you have to knock ghrelin down, you need to keep ghrelin down. And the way you keep it down is you eat on a schedule. Now, if you're the type of person who doesn't eat breakfast, so what? That's fine, that's great. But if you eat lunch and dinner, make sure you eat lunch and dinner. And if you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, make sure you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. However you eat, you need to do that, and you need to continue to do that so that you can keep ghrelin suppressed. And you will have better control of your eating habits. Let me give you actually a better example of what ghrelin is and why it works. We all know about, the gastric bypass, the bariatric surgeries, weight loss surgeries. And so let me see what the question was. And so we'll get to those questions. I think I'm going to remember them. And so we all know about bariatric surgery. So there are three main weight loss surgeries. One is the lap band, where they put a band around your stomach. The second is the sleeve, where they cut out 80% of your stomach. And the third is the gastric bypass, where we cut out 80% of your stomach, but then we do some replumbing work and take a part of your intestines and put it up closer to your stomach. So in that order is how effective they are. So the lap band is the least effective, the sleeve is the next most effective, and the gastric bypass is the most effective. So why is the lap band the least effective? This has to do with, in the beginning we thought it was all about the size. And this is one case where size doesn't matter. And so you get the smallest stomach with the lap band, yet the lap band is the least effective. And because we've been talking, I bet you know why. Because ghrelin is in your stomach. We never removed ghrelin. All we did was squeeze the stomach to this small little percentage. And so that's why the lap band doesn't work, and that's why we don't even do it. We barely do it anymore. So then the sleeve is the next best thing. And why is this pretty effective? Well, we cut out 80% of your stomach, which means we cut out 80% of your ghrelin. And so that's why the sleeve is more effective than the lap band, because it actually, even though the stomach size is bigger, the real thing that's causing you to eat is removed. So then why is the gastric bypass more effective than the sleeve? Well, that's because we cut out 80% of your stomach, just like in the sleeve. But like I said, we do that replumbing work. And those satiating, those hormones that make you feel satisfied are in that part of the intestines that we take and we move closer to your stomach, so that those hormones that make you feel satisfied get released early because they get exposed to food sooner. So not only did we, take out 80% of ghrelin, we also increased the hormones that make you feel satisfied, which is why the gastric bypass is more effective than the sleeve. And so once we realized that, we actually stopped calling it just bariatric surgery. We call it metabolic surgery, because we realized that this is your metabolism at work. This is things that are being changed in your metabolism. And so that's really what we're doing. And so when you do surgery, and so you can do that. You can control these hormones without, some people, now I won't say everyone, because some people we do need to consider surgery, but we can try to manage these hormones, and we do a pretty good job at it with using protein. Sometimes we need medications, and we and we take it from there. My cousin Britt said, you do have to be a certain, the good question, Britt. You do have to be a certain BMI to qualify for the surgery. So you can qualify for the surgery if you have a body mass index of 35 and a medical problem, like diabetes or high blood pressure, or if you have a BMI of 40 with or without a medical problem. And then there are other surgeries, minimally invasive, like we do gastric balloons. You can put a balloon in. There are a lot of different things that are coming out that are on the market. And now the newer medications, you're going to start hearing about these a lot over the next couple of years. The newer medications are very, very effective. And these medications are what I'm talking about. They block ghrelin. They increase your, make you feel satisfied. You ever, whatever, maybe you were sick or something, but you ever just not want to eat something like, I'm not hungry. And you don't know why, but you should eat, but you're just not hungry. That is the satiating hormones at work. And that's what some of these medications can do. And so someone said, what kind of healthy snacks should we use? And so I would say a protein-based snack. So if you wanted to do a hard-boiled egg, if you wanted to do some nuts, you can do a cheese stick. A protein-based snack to decrease your ghrelin is important. Other snacks that are not protein-based or not at least have, you want to get a good 20 grams of protein in if you can, or at least 15 grams of protein in. So you can do a protein shake. And you do that, like I said, about 30 minutes before your meal or 45 minutes before your meal. And I still need you to eat your meal because then, again, you defeat the purpose. Ghrelin goes back up. And so let me see. I see a lot of questions here. Someone said, let's see. Sometimes I skip breakfast. And so someone said that sometimes they skip breakfast if they're not hungry, so they won't eat just for the sake of eating. And I get that. What I would say to that question is that you need to know yourself. If you notice that when you don't eat breakfast because you're not hungry, you make poor choices for lunch, then you need to do something about that. Either you need to eat breakfast or you need to do that, like I said, do that snack about a half hour, 45 minutes before you eat your next meal. And so you just got to know your body and know yourself. And that's really it with that. And so, thank you for St. Louis. You read the pack. Oh, thank you. That's good to hear. I encourage you to go to college. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you read it and I'm glad you liked it. So that's good. So that really is my ghrelin talk. Ghrelin is the hunger gremlin. Ghrelin is sneaky. Ghrelin will be around and ghrelin won't go away right away. And so you need to understand how to tussle and wrestle with ghrelin so you are in control and ghrelin's not in control. Remember, once these cravings hit, ghrelin's done its job and it's spinning. It's going to be hard to slow that down. Like I said, there's only two ways to slow it down, and that is to wait 20 minutes or so, or to give in to the craving. But the other way to slow it down is to not to allow it to start spinning in the first place. And in that case, that means you have to decrease your ghrelin so you won't activate your limbic system. And so you need to be strategic about your snacking and what you snack on. They should be low-carb snacks. They should be higher in protein. They should be about 15 to 20 grams of protein at least. You still need to eat your meal because you want to keep ghrelin down. And so those are some of the things that I want you to remember from this talk. And someone asked about fruit. So fruit doesn't have a lot of protein in it, and we need protein to decrease ghrelin. It might satisfy a craving, but fruit may not be the most effective thing. But if you try it and it satisfies the craving, then great. That's great too. But again, you still need to eat your meal. Let me see one other question. What are your thoughts on fasting and eating 1 meal a day? So I talk about fasting, and I actually going to talk about it in the book, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But intermittent fasting, or fasting in general, is similar to a low-carb diet in that the goal for both of them, if you read Jason Fong's book about the obesity code, it's called the obesity code, he talks, I mean, a lot of the things I say in my book, he says in his book, but he says it from an intermittent fasting approach, but it's the same physiology. And so basically the goal is to reduce insulin so that you won't make fat cells, because insulin makes fat, right? And so the thing that stimulates insulin the most is carbohydrates. So if you don't eat carbohydrates, you won't raise your insulin, so you won't make fat, and it will allow you to burn fat. So what's a better way not to stimulate insulin? Don't eat at all. And so that's even better than a low-carb diet in that sense. Some people have a hard time doing intermittent fasting for extended periods of time. So in other words, for 6, 9, 12 months, a year or two. And so we recommend a low-carb diet because it allows you to not feel starved or hungry or whatever, and you can still eat. You just have to keep your carbohydrates down. And some people in my program do both. It's fine. I think it's a good thing to do. Some of the studies just say that it's not sustainable. And so if you really learn how to do a low-carb diet and find some alternatives to the things that you once were eating, then I think you will find it more sustainable. It's my 6 S's that I talk about in the book. And one of them is it sustainable? I've been doing a low-carb diet for at least the last 6, 7 years. And it is sustainable. And so does the balloon impact ghrelin? Not really. You got to do some other things if you get a gastric balloon put in. That's where I come in to help with that. And so, okay, it's 7:30. I thank you guys for joining. We're gonna wrap up now. You can get the book. I'm glad you asked that question. I was about to tell you, you can get the book anywhere books are sold, on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, wherever books are sold. Go to my website, like wherever books are sold, you can get the book. So please share this episode with your friends, post it on your site, on your social media. Go to my YouTube page. Everything is either Dr. Ramik Hunt, that's my handle, or No Guesswork is the other handle. And so make sure you share share with everyone, and make sure you tell your friends to get the book. I need everybody to hashtag what's your carb number. I want people to know what their carb number is, because that really is the crux and what makes this book different than other low carb diets, because we teach you how to find your carb number. So with that, enjoy your week. I will see you again next Monday. We will be talking about, let's see, the mindset for change. This will apply to things outside of weight. It will apply to a lot of things in your life in general. So we'll see you next week. All right, take care, guys. Bye.